Hey everyone, we're back and revisiting our Shopify theme customization tutorial for collection swatches. I took in all your comments and made a lot of updates and bug fixes. So not only do the swatches work on the collection page, but if you use the search, featured collections, and product recommendations, it works as well. We added settings into the theme editor to more easily control the swatches. You can filter your products and use the quick add functionality and more. So there's a lot going on here. Watch through this whole video. We'll start with a demo, describe all the features, and then we'll show you how to add it to your store. Just a quick warning though, this tutorial is a bit more complex than some of our other customizations that we've done, but don't worry, I'll take you through it step by step. This video also builds off our previous video on the version 3 of product swatches. So if you haven't added that one yet, watch that video first, add that to your store, and then come back for this one. But I hope you like this one. It was a lot of work to put together, so I have just one small favor to ask in return. Hit that subscribe button and like this video. It helps us grow this channel so we can keep making these free tutorials for you. And if you're looking to hire us for some personalized help, then check out theprompted.co and book a call with us. Thanks so much for watching. Let's take a look at the collection swatches. Okay, so let's start off with a tour of our collection swatches on our demo store. You can see here, we've got this collection of products, and if we click on the variant, it will change the color. This will also work with filtering. So if we change the product type to say t-shirt, we filter it down. Previously, if we put the filter, there was a bug where it wasn't working properly, so we fixed that. You can remove this. And then also with the quick modal, the quick add modal. So if you choose your product here, it selects the proper one. So we had the red one selected here. If we go to our blue pants, it'll open it up and you'll get your blue pants. So that's been fixed as well. Now if we go into our product page, so we have our green variant selected, we go into our product page, it takes us to the green variant as well. Just remember that we've selected this green. Well, it'll be a little bit handy when we go back to our collection page. But let's move down here for now. We also have these two sections. One is the recommended products and the other one is the featured collection. So we've got the swatches working on each one of these sections as well. If you followed version 2 of the collection swatches, you may remember that we didn't have it working for the recommended products. Well, we've got that fixed and that's working now. But yeah, let's move back to our collection page. And you can see here that the green variant is still selected. So previously, I think if we went back, the image would default to the default image. So we fixed that. And if you come back into the product again, it'll still stay on the variant that you had selected. So that has also been fixed because there was a bug around that. So a bunch of bug fixes that we've just added there. Next, we can take a look at search. So if we say search for a t-shirt, then our swatches work for the search area as well. And then if you go to the home page, we're gonna see a featured products here, and also the swatches work for here. So these products don't have any variants, so that's why that doesn't show up. You're also gonna see that even though all of these product cards have different shapes for their images, all the product cards have the same size. And so we've also fixed that. And if you're using the product card version, you're going to see here that the color doesn't get split up. I think if we used product cards previously, that the background color of the swatches didn't match the background color of the product information. So now that we've done a little tour on our demo store, let's hop into the theme editor and take a look at our settings. So here we have our collections in the theme editor. But if you head over to the theme settings, you can see here that we have this section here for the product cards and the product card swatches. So the product cards, they should already exist in your theme by default. And you have this option for card versus standard. So card, you can see that there's this there's a complete card here. The background of the information is separate from the background of the store. So if you wanted to change the background color of your of your collection page, for example, let's change this to blue, for example. You can really see here how these cards will pop out. And if we head over to the product card settings and change that to standard, you're going to see here that the background matches the background of the of your collection page. So previously we had a bug where if you use card, that the color of your swatches didn't quite match the rest of the color of the product information in the card. And so we fixed that. Now that all stays together as a card. And also if you have different size of cards, like in this case you have 2 lines in your title, it still matches all of the rest of these cards as well. So that should all be working fine for you now. Let's just take this color back to scheme 1. Okay, and so let's now take a look at our new settings. And the very first one is the very basic one. Do you want your swatches on or off? And so we uncheck that, the swatches will all go away, and your product cards will behave like normal. But because this is the whole purpose of this video, let's turn that on. Okay, our second setting is to lazy load variant images. And so this is something that happens more on the back end, but what's going to happen here when you load up this page, if you have the lazy load variant images on, it's going to load up all these different images, all the variant images in the background. And so that might help your swatches behave a little bit more quickly. So when you click it, it automatically updates. But if your collection page has a lot of products and a lot of variants, then maybe that actually could slow down your store. So in that case, you might want to turn this off. And then what would happen is every time you click the image, that's when it loads it in. And so there may or may not be a slight delay when you click it. But ultimately, you have to test that on your store to see which one behaves the best. But that option's there for you, so you can kind of figure out what's best for your store. Okay, so next is our variant option name. So right now we've selected color, and so all these products have a color variant, but we can also change it to something else. So some of the products that we have here have a material variant. So let's change that to material. And then you're gonna see here, okay, right here, there's one product with the material variant. And so you can change this to whichever variant that you want to show. And it will update it based on the one that you select. So for this demo, we're mostly just going to be using color, so we'll just change that back to color. Now, I know some of you have been asking for multiple variants. We haven't done that yet for this tutorial. We can potentially take a look at that in the future where you can have 2 variant options. So if you want to see that, do let me know. But for now, we have just the single option. Okay, so let's move along. We have the default variant swatch map meta object. So this is something that you might be familiar with if you've already ran the product variant swatches video. So what that is the map that defines what images go into our swatches. And so let's head over to the admin. Let's go to content and then variant swatch map. Okay, and we've got our variant swatch mapping. So here we have a JSON file, a JSON code, which defines what each swatch contains. Right, so in some cases it's going to be an image. So let's say for the blue is going to be this blue rose.jpg, which is this blue rose right here. Right. In other cases, we've got we don't set a swatch, in which case it will default to the variant image. So you can see here green is actually the same image as your variant image. And then in other cases, we might set a hex code. So for black here or red, we set the hex code. So that's why we're seeing just a solid color inside of your swatch. So we've added the option to add the hex codes in there. You guys were asking for that, so we've added that in. And we also have the option to override the default option. So here, this is the default one, right? So if you don't set an override, that's the images or the swatches that you set in this file is the one that's going to show up here. But let's say for one of the products, let's see, we're looking at the swatch demo one. You want to actually use this swatch map override. And so we can actually select a different option. So we can do, well, okay, let's use this sweatpants one. I know it's not sweatpants, but it's got a different set of settings inside there. And so if we now come back here and refresh, we can see here for our swatch demo product that the blue has now turned into a swatch, whereas before it was a blue row. So all of these other products have the blue rows, except for here we have the swatch. Actually here, the sweatpants one. So this one also has the override in there as well. And so you can see here, you have some control over which swatches each product gets if you so need that. Okay, and then finally, we have the swatch shape options. So if you want to turn that into a square, we can make that a square. And if you want to change the size, you have a little slider to make it bigger or smaller. So that's our collection swatches. If you like what you see, then stick around because we're going to add it to your store now. Okay, so we're now in the themes area of our store, and we're going to be working with this theme right here. So this theme has the product swatches version 3 already implemented on it, and that's going to be a prerequisite for this video. And it's mainly for the meta objects and the meta fields that we created in that video, so that we have one spot where we can update our swatches, and it will update both on the product page and the collection page, instead of having two separate areas. So that's why they're going to work in conjunction with each other. If you use the previous version 2 of the collection swatches, this one is a little bit different. Some of the file names are the same, but we also create new files, and we're using a different meta object definition. So there is some differences here. You could just update everything based on what we've done previously, but keep in mind that this is designed for Dawn version 14. This is the newest version of Dawn that has come out, and we're using it for this video. And so this solution has been adapted to work with Dawn version 14. So let's take a look at the store itself. You can see here the cards don't have any of the swatches in there, but if we go into the product, we've got our product swatches already implemented. So that's our starting point. Let's come back to the themes area. And before starting, just make sure you duplicate your theme, right? So I've already done that. I've already duplicated. That's the duplicate version that we're working on here. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to hop into the theme editor, and we're going to turn off the show second image on hover. So you're going to see that in various different places. So for example, on the collection page for your product grid, there is this option here to show second image on hover. So right now it's been turned off, but if it was turned on, then when you hover over it, it actually changes it to the second image in your product. Now we don't want that because we're trying to control the image with our swatches, so it'll just conflict and behave a little bit funny. So we're going to turn that off. And you're going to see that in a few different places. Let's say on your product page, you're going to have potentially this you may also like section, right, with the product recommendations. You may have featured collection, so we can add a section here for a featured collection. And let's select, let's say the t-shirt collection here. Okay, so there should be an option here, show second image on hover, so that's off. Great. Here, let's take a look at the recommended products, show second image on hover. Let's turn that off. And save. And then let's say go to our home page. We have featured products right here. So show second image on hover, we're going to want to turn that off as well. And then maybe on the search as well. Search results. Okay, show second image on hover. So those are all been turned off. That's the first step. The second step is if we actually go to our collections, we're going to see here that the first image could be a different color than our variant image. So for example, if we go to the prompted text sweatpants, so let's search for that, prompted text sweatpants. We see here that the first image is green, but our first variant is black. And so when we actually show the variants, you're going to see a black variant being selected as default, but it's going to be the first image is going to show green. So there's going to be a mismatch there. So you're going to want to make sure that your featured image lines up with your first variant. And so I'm not going to change that for all the different products that we have in the store, but for yours, you're going to want to do that just so that when we load up, that the selected variant on first load will match your cards, product cards image. And so we'll see what that looks like a little bit later. I'll point that out once we add the swatches back in, but that's also one of the preparation steps that you're going to want to make. Okay, so now that you've done all of that, we can edit code. So remember, before you edit the code, just duplicate everything, duplicate your theme. So if anything goes wrong, you can always revert back to your previous version. But let's hop into our code. And the first step we're going to do is we're going to add our settings in. So we're going to go settings, schema, and we're just going to look for product cards. Maybe cards. Yeah, so this is the card style option here, right? So we have standard and card. So if we come to our settings here, product cards, remember we've got standard and card, so that's that section there. But we don't have our product card swatches menu because that's what we're adding right now. So we're just gonna come just beneath here where this ends, right? You can see it's highlighted because we highlighted the top there. So we can come just below it and add our new settings in. So we'll just copy and paste our settings into here. We'll save. And now if we refresh, we're gonna see those settings show up. There we go. And now we have all these settings. Now, it doesn't matter what we select here because we haven't added the rest of the code in yet. So let's do that now. So next we're going to create a few new files. Some of them are going to be snippet files, so we should add them under snippets. Some of them are going to be asset files, so we'll add them under the assets folder here. So in this case, we're going to create a snippet file, add a new snippet, and we're going to call this the card variant swatch custom.liquid file. So we'll say done, and we're going to copy and paste the code into here. So we'll save that, and let's move on to the next file, which will be an asset file. So we'll create a new asset, create blank file, make it a JS file, and this will be card product variant selection custom.js. So we'll do done. And then we're just going to copy and paste our code into here and save. And then finally, we're going to make one last new file. It's going to also be an asset file. This will be a CSS one, and we're going to call this component card variant swatch custom. Okay, and we're going to finish that off, and we're going to copy and paste our code into here, and let's save. Now we're going to edit some existing files, and the first one we're going to do is the card product.liquid file. And then here, what we're going to do is we're going to paste some code right up near the top. And so we're going to add that just below the CSS file here. And there we go. Next, we're going to look for these div class card content. Now, this is going to show up twice. You can see here once around 166. This is after we've already pasted the code above. So in the original file, it's probably going to be something a smaller line number. But you're going to see it again right here. Card content, card information. So we actually want to go above the second one here, and we're going to paste this second section of code. And what this is doing is it's adding the swatch area between this portion, which is actually the image portion of your card, and this portion here below it is the title and the pricing and all of that. So that's that portion. We're going right in between. What we're also going to do is we're going to change these two divs. And so let's just copy and paste and replace this code. You're going to see here, these two divs still have the card content and card information classes in there, but we've added an if statement to add a second class if we are modifying it with swatches. And so that will change how it'll change the layout of the title information just a little bit so that it looks good with the swatches. Okay, and then finally, we're going to go near the bottom. We're going to look for this else statement here, followed by some liquid, like a liquid statement with a kind of ratio, portrait, etc. So we're going to come right above there, and we're going to paste this last piece of code. And that's just to wrap this entire card with this span here, which just gives it some, it gives it a class and some data parameters that we can use in other parts of the code. Okay, so let's save now. And then next we can go to the theme.liquid file. And then here we're going to come right below these other JavaScript files here, and then we can add our own new if statement to say if we're using the card swatches, then we want to run this JavaScript. And so let's save that. And now we need to update our search pages. So we'll do that. Oops, sorry. We want main.search.liquid, not the JavaScript. And we're going to be adding a data parameter into our into this file. So we're just going to look for the grid product dash grid. Okay, so we've got this UL, and then this the class is grid product grid. We're just going to come above here, and we're going to add our data ID, and this is necessary to kind of individually identify the cards that we're using. So we're going to save that, and then in our related products.liquid file, so this is the product recommendations, we're going to do the exact same thing. So we're going to look for grid product grid, there it is, and we're going to come and add our data ID as well. Okay, and so one last file to update. This is going to be our global.js, and we're going to be looking for the class product recommendations. So in here, we're going to be adding this line of code right inside the connected callback method. And so there's going to be this if statement, and we're going to add this execute scripts line right here. And we're also going to add a new method in this class. So we'll come near the bottom of the class and just paste that in there. Okay, and now we can save. And now if we go back to the theme editor and refresh, we can enable our product card swatches. And there we go. Now they show up. Let's just save and refresh our site. And there we go. we have our product swatches working. We can, let's say, turn on our quick add modals. So let's turn this on standard. Refresh. Okay, so we've got our green shirt here selected. We can go in, hop in, get our green shirt. We can go to our product page. We see all the swatches on the recommended products and the featured collections. Everything is working here. You can see that it maybe took just a split second longer to load there, so maybe we want to use lazy load and save that. So now we can refresh, and it should just be a little bit more responsive here. All right, so you can see here that the variant colors are updating right away. And just as a quick reminder, if you wanted to update what the actual swatches look like, we go over that in the product variant swatches video. But just as a quick reminder, you are going to use the meta object here, variant swatch map, that we added. Again, that was in the previous video. And you can define this JSON here. So this is where you're going to say what image you want to use, or which variant hex you want to use, or if you want to just use the default variant image, then you specify neither and it will default to that. So that's where you can see here, green is the default image, right? So that's green here. We've got blue rose. So we got an image for the blue, right? So we got that image right there. We've got the hex codes for black and red. So that's why you see the solid red, solid black. And you also have the option to override, right? So in this case, this blue isn't the blue rose, it's a swatch. This black is not a solid black, it's actually flower. And so you can override the default variant swatch map by using the override meta field in your product. And so that's the one that we're using right here, right? We're saying, let's use this variant swatch mapping for original sweatpants, and then it will define its own set of images, swatches for that product. So it doesn't have to actually always be the same. All right, so that's our collection swatches version 3. We added more functionality and we fixed a bunch of bugs from our previous version. Let me know if this worked for you, and if you have any other customization requests, add them below. If you want to hire us for some personalized help, head over to theprompted.co and book a call with us. But that's it for today. See you in the next one.